for joining us for an episode of All About PR. If you're tuning in for the first time, on this podcast, we speak to experts from the field of PR and communication from across the world and bring you an interesting conversation on the subject every week. Today, we discuss PR in the theatre industry. While most of us are enamored with the spotlights on the stage, few know that it takes a lot of effort to craft that precise scene. It's only when you peek behind the curtain that you understand that a PR army is working non-stop and putting in the hours to help create an enviable reputation. Within the entertainment industry as well, theatre occupies a unique space. Today, we have with us seasoned communication professional Kajal Gadhia, the founder of Mindworkz, who specializes in PR for the theatre industry. She is also the executive producer of Manhar Gadhia Productions and has produced several plays. She focuses on theatre, music, art, culture, and Gujarati films. Kajal is one of the most sought-after consultants in the industry and works for some of India's leading artists that include names like Naseeruddin Shah, Paresh Rawal, Makarand Deshpande, Zakir Hussain, production houses like Motley, Aadyam, Rage Production, Ansh Theatre, and cultural hubs in which she counts Prithvi Theatre, NCPA, Goethe Institute, G5A Foundation as her clients. So let's add her on. Hi Kajal, lovely to have you on our podcast today.
Thank you, Dharanjeev. This is such a great moment when one PR talks to the other.
And it's always fun. So, before we get into theatre, PR, and everything that revolves around it, I do want to understand why and how you got into PR.
So for me, PR was absolutely a natural progression. My father was already into theatre advertising. So I was already into advertising and I was seeing the theatre world very closely. And I was seeing that all these biggies, all these creative people are creating something, something very interesting that intrigued me since childhood. So that's how. And in 2006, it was what do I do of my own? Because, what is my outlet? And I was very good at communicating with all of them and understanding what they are trying to tell me. So it's a natural progression for me. In 2006, I started my own PR firm called Mindworkz and the rest followed.
So you decided to start your career with entrepreneurship. That is not a typical chosen path. I want to understand what motivated you to choose the road less traveled.
So my journey has been because I have watched the world so closely, I got to understand what they need. So I had an advertising firm. So we offered advertising and PR as a service together then because we are doing advertising of your play and we understand what you need to communicate outside. So that's the reason I said this will be an added service. But obviously because it was quite different, quite separate. And I also thought that I want to take up other clients other than theatre also. So that's the reason I separated it out from then. I was not hoping it to get so far, frankly speaking. I was like one of the services. But then it just happened and I just took it over from there. And it's been a wonderful journey.
So it has morphed into a PR agency now.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not limited to theatre PR. It's basically what creative process we understand, we agree to take it forward to the audience. It's like any creative process or performing art. If you pick up music, if you pick up dance, if you pick up art, painting, all of these things. I've dabbled into everything like it, from varied art expression, how people express their art. I have taken it to very different levels because I understand that creative process at the first.
Absolutely. It's very essential for you to understand the creative process to be able to work in it. Since today's podcast discussion is on theatre PR, could you help us understand a little more about PR in your world? How is it different from other verticals?
So I would say it's same, but it's very different. सब article same paper में आएगा, पर जो article बोलेगा और जो कहेगा is very different, So a theatre mind, I would say, speaks very differently from a Bollywood mind or any other film or web mind, I would say. Because theatre is all about the creative process. So कहते हैं ना कि show तो हमारा एक final destination है, हमारी journey rehearsal है. So जैसे how can you say what's the difference between the rehearsal and shooting? It's very different. So it's the same way. The craft is very different. to put it across to the audience is very different. In theater, you actually get the vibe and the energy of the audience, which makes up a show. In shooting, it is, you don't know who your audience is. You only know after they see and they come back to you and say it was great.
Right.
So in this, you know your audience. You know the pulse of audience. You know that they are going to laugh now. You know they're going to cry now. That personal connect happens, and the energy inside the theater hall is extremely different. I cannot express it in words. You have to enter the theater to know the vibe of it.
And I'm assuming this happens with every show, the cast and crew.
Yes, yes, it is. Every show is different. मतलब जरूरी नहीं है कि ये लाइन पे आज लाफ्टर आया तो कल भी उसी लाइन पे लाफ्टर आएगा, कल उस लाइन पे बहुत वर्क भी आएगा और बहुत नो रिएक्शन भी आ सकता है. So you have to be that prepared for it. So you get the pulse of audience. So after the show, we all talk. How was your audience? I don't ask how was your performance because that you rehearse. We ask how is the audience, and the actors come and tell us today's audience was excellent and very receptive. And the other day they'll say बहुत ठंडा है. That's when we go to different places. Say दुबई से लेके बैंगलोर से लेके कैलकाटा से लेके सब जगह का ऑडियंस अलग होता है. तो जब दो एक्टर बात करते हैं आपको सुनना चाहिए. अरे मैं कल कैलकाटा जा रहा हूँ शो के लिए. How's the audience over there?
Conversation itself is different. So I understand from your.
Yes.
It seems to me that with every show, the cast and crew have to bring in their A game. Does it also hold true for the PR team?
Absolutely. I mean, undoubtedly, because what happens is that every show is different, every audience is different, and every play is also different. Sometimes you just want to go across and give normal, simple message that this is a good entertaining play. Sometimes you want to give a message which is beyond the play.
So, Kajal, you've been in the industry for almost 2 decades. How has the PR industry or the role of PR in the theatre industry evolved? Can you throw a little light on that?
मैं आपको एक बहुत ही funny example दूंगी कि Makarand Deshpande, earlier when he used to come to, he's that creative geek, creative madness we call. He's a creative guy, and when he used to come to my office in 90s, I remember I used to tell him, Makarand, where is your cast list and where is the synopsis of your play and how are we going to promote it? And he will sit there with a pen and a paper and tell me, काजल एक चाय और समोसा मिलेगा तो ऑटोमेटिक सिनॉप्सिस और कास्ट क्रेडिट आ जाएगा पेपर. He used to sit and write it in my office. And today when I meet Makarand Deshpande, he gives me, so I used to always crib, why you guys can't have a good photo shoot? Why can't we have photo shoot like how Bollywood has? That kind of a profession. So now when he comes with a photograph CD, emails me everything. Everything is on WeTransfer. So it's transformed. He's saying, Kajal, here is everything. Now you tell me what you want. I said, now you just speak to the press.
So it has evolved from their end also. How has it evolved from the media perspective, from what they used to view it earlier to how they view it now?
So I would say media was very divided earlier in the sense कि media would say कि यार मतलब थिएटर है ना तो मेरा काम नहीं है. आज ऐसा नहीं है. आज मैं एक फाइनेंस पेपर के जर्नलिस्ट को अगर बोलती हूँ कि आप वीकेंड पेपर में आर्ट और थिएटर के बारे में लिखिए और आप प्ले देखने आइए and do the economics of theatre. Do a story on economics of theatre. I'm not asking you to do a story on sets and lights of theatre, right? So then they would be interested. They would come. They would not say no to me. They would definitely look into the matter and give it a chance. So that's wherein the whole difference lies, that they've opened up. Also social media and internet, the vast audience that we have it on the internet, they kind of delve into it. मतलब आपको 5 आर्टिकल बॉलीवुड के पढ़े तो एक थिएटर का दिख ही जाएगा.
That's very heartening to hear. The fact that multiple media streams are now opening up to the theatre world and to the possibility of exploring stories on the sector beyond their comfort zone. So let me go back to clients. When we were chatting earlier, Kajal, you mentioned that clients would come to you when everything was ready and you would be asked just to promote it. How has that process and the client ask changed today?
It again depends from person to person. Like how creative person perceives this kind of a play. Like there are people who will send me like नसीर जी आज तक मुझे पहले दिन जब पूरी यूनिट को स्क्रिप्ट जाती है मुझे भी स्क्रिप्ट आती है एंड आई एम एक्सपेक्टेड टू रीड द स्क्रिप्ट एंड देन गो टू रिहर्सल एंड आई एम बीइंग आस्क्ड कि आपने स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ी है कि आप ऐसे ही आए. So I dread to enter into his rehearsal if I have
Right.
not read the script or I don't know about the. So likely the other people might say that no, it's okay that you come in the grand rehearsal. They will give me one meeting and they will explain me what they want to do and how.
Right.
So I also decide that what kind of a play is this? Do I need to go to the rehearsal? Do I need to even go to the reading? They do reading before rehearsal. Like maybe there is 10 days of only reading the play, not doing rehearsal. Then they do rehearsal, then they do grand rehearsal, and then there is show. So depending on the kind of project, I decide where all I am needed and where I should go and where my PR scope lies. Because it's very different with each project.
To an outsider, it seems very glamorous because you are in the company of such highly creative professionals. So, help us demystify it. Kajal, can you speak to us a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of your PR strategy for a play, theatre house, or an artist?
It's very different. I would say you should be used to those readings, those grand rehearsals. As a person, even a PR person, your knowledge about those processes needs to be very clear. अगर आप किसी रीडिंग में जा रहे हो तो आपको
Right.
पता होना चाहिए कि रीडिंग किसको कहते हैं. If you're going to a rehearsal, you should know कि ये डायरेक्टर ये सीन को किस तरह से परसीव करना चाह रहा है और वो क्या अचीव करना चाह रहा है और वो क्या अचीव कर रहा है. वो प्रोसेस को आपको देखना है. आपको ये नहीं देखना है कि ये प्ले कैसा है. And the third is a grand rehearsal, which is a very, very important phase where they do set light, music. So it is almost like a show. It is 70% like a show. They are just fine tuning everything and seeing that everything goes in sync. And it's the most crucial stage, I would say, wherein the life of the stage is decided, wherein people can see, like a person like me, if I see your grand rehearsal, I can tell you, I mean, the stress of it, where it's going to reach or how it's going to propel. Like I can gauge that much and then I should involve my media accordingly. So those are very crucial and important stages which you need to learn. So if you don't understand the working of those things,
Right.
if you tell a director to come out in his grand rehearsal and give a television bite, he might slap you there and there. Also, what they do is कि आप मीडिया को बुलाइए grand rehearsal में, let the media see the play, but they can see it only for 15 minutes. And I will give a bite, but I will give it after half an hour. So to do this, it's like self-contradictory statements which they come out with every day over there. So how to balance that is your job. You're committing a lot on behalf of the creative people here, to them, that this is going to be interesting, that is going to be great. So it better be great, those 20 minutes, and then it better turn out into a great article.
Do you have to be a theatre enthusiast yourself to be able to work in theatre?
I am myself a theatre enthusiast. You can, as a normal PR person, also handle theatre if you're not a theatre enthusiast. But theatre people don't like too much of planning, too much of strategizing. They are like those improv, extempo kind of a thing. कि you should know कि ये अभी होना चाहिए. अगर आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली तो आपको मीडिया को लाना है. आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिली तो उसको कॉम्पनसेट कैसे करना है वो भी you should know. You strategize and you plan certain things. It might not go that way, but you should know how to rectify it then if it doesn't go according to your plan. तो ऐसा तो एवरी डे होता है थिएटर में कि आज मैंने प्लान किया था और स्ट्रेटेजाइज किया था, बट इट माइट नॉट इवन हैपन.
So it sounds like this is a very dynamic field and you need to be on your toes almost every day in anticipation of a crisis. I say this because every show is like performance day, and that obviously brings on the pressure of ensuring everything goes smoothly every single day. The scene is also ripe for a crisis. Can you share with us a specific crisis you managed in the theatre industry?
There have been several times when rehearsal आगे पीछे होते हैं, grand rehearsal आगे पीछे होते हैं, एंड अगर हमने नसीर जी को बोल दिया कि आज रिहर्सल में दो जर्नलिस्ट आने वाले हैं और रिहर्सल में एक ही जर्नलिस्ट आता है एंड ही वुड से ओ so theater or we are not so important that they could not even make it to the rehearsal.
Wow.
So he might say that okay, no problem. I don't think I can give her time tomorrow so she can manage her life. So now tomorrow when that journalist wants to come to the rehearsal, I doubt she's going to be allowed because she's already wasted his time, which was really money at that point of time. It was really crucial. Rehearsal is a crucial time. We give only lunch time to journalists and then they can sit for 10 minutes and watch the play if they want to. And, they cannot expect us to keep going on and on. And then this funny thing that happens when journalists come for rehearsal, they come with a photographer and when the rehearsal is going on, they want to click pictures. So you have to literally beg the director, 5 minutes, sir. Don't do that serious rehearsal of yours. Do some light thing. Do something by which you will not be disturbing your process and give us those 5 minutes. And the photographer needs to be only taking those 5 minutes. He cannot say, "Mujhe mera shot nahi mila." That means you've not planned your shot while you were standing there and the journalist was taking the answer. What my job is, I sit through the interview with the journalist, and before I sit and start the interview with the journalist and the director, I tell the photographer the minute he enters, you find your spot. आपको कहाँ फोटो चाहिए, कौन सा फोटो चाहिए, आप मेरे को immediately बोलने चाहिए. And the minute the interview is over, he will tell me what he wants. And if it is practical enough, only will I allow that. And I will request the director, sir, can we do this?
Because you deal with so many artistic temperaments, it might seem that the field would be very volatile and rife with unprofessionalism. But what I hear from you speaks volumes about the professionalism in the field.
It is. They are very professional. And what is it that they are expecting you to be professional if they are professional?
So you need to really plan your media interactions down to the last second. If you're late, you're done. Seems like you can be late for a movie, but you cannot be late for theatre.
Yes, absolutely. आपको थर्ड बेल के बाद एंट्री ही नहीं मिलेगी. पृथ्वी थिएटर में आज भी ये रूल है कि थर्ड बेल जाने के बाद खुद संजना कपूर हो, कुणाल कपूर हो या शशि कपूर हो, they cannot enter the theater and they don't. Even if the theater belongs to them, they can enter anytime they want, but they do not break the rules. I've never seen them breaking any rules at Prithvi themselves. There has been times when Naseer ji, Makarand, Sanjana, and all the names in the theater you take, they all have come for the show, they have been late, and they have not entered the play.
So, Kajal, how has social media changed the dynamics of your field?
So I would say that strategize कि आपके प्रेस रिलीज में क्या होगा और प्रेस किट में क्या होगा और आपके रिहर्सल में आप क्या करोगे. आज आप ये भी स्ट्रेटेजाइज कर सकते हो कि सोशल मीडिया पे क्या होगा. So we literally take the baton ahead and we will tell you how to strategize your social media. आपका एक स्ट्रेटेजी होगा प्ले को अनवेल करने का, अनरावल करने का ऑडियंस को, बट we will also give you from a PR perspective क्या होना चाहिए आपके इस पे, या ये 4 आर्टिकल आए हैं जो आपके पेज पे जाने चाहिए. I mean it's a bliss in a way because थिएटर को ज्यादा एक्सपोजर मिल गया. I would say, I mean there have been people who have looked on my Mindworkz page कि भैया आप ये थिएटर करते हो तो हमको ये आर्टिकल करना है. तो ये एक जमाने में नहीं होता था. People used to search कि किसको कॉल करना है. हमको नहीं पता है how to connect to this person, how to get theater के लिए article. They used to come via मेरा तो the funny part about my PR work is that only journalist मेरा नाम देते हैं लोगों को. एक जर्नलिस्ट दूसरे जर्नलिस्ट को भेजता है कि अगर आपको थिएटर कवर करना है तो आप इनको फोन कीजिए. तो वो फिर मैं उसके लिए काम करती हूँ वो थिएटर ग्रुप के लिए या नहीं करती हूँ. दे एक्चुअली कॉल मी ओनली एंड आई पुट देम अक्रॉस बिकॉज each and everybody in all theater fraternity are my friends. So it has enhanced. It has worked in a very good way for theater.
No, definitely. I think social media has amplified, the messaging that you wanted to give
Yeah.
out. And more people being aware of theater is always good. Can you share your biggest learnings in PR from the world of theater?
His PR requires empathy, lot of empathy. So if you are somebody who understands and can empathize the creative person's passion and message to the audience, you are the one chosen one to get the work. And the second thing I would say is timing. Timing is everything. To do the right thing at the right time in theater is very important and is very, very crucial. क्योंकि आपको जैसे एंट्री नहीं मिलेगी कहीं पे. If the grand rehearsal started, you cannot enter any grand rehearsal. And the third thing is you become a psychologist, I would say. Because psychology जो opposite person की है, एक creative person को ये चीज पसंद है तो दूसरे को वो नहीं पसंद हो सकती है. One loves media, the other one might not like media. And they both are same and they both should get enough and actual good coverage. तो वो आपका जॉब है कि वो उनके गैप्स आप कैसे फिल करो मीडिया के साथ. किसी एक के लिए XYZ करना पड़ता है तो किसी दूसरे के लिए ABC करना पड़ता है, पर वो आइडेंटिफाई करना आपका काम है.
So, Kajal, if someone wants to get into theatre PR, what are the top skills one must have and how would one go about acquiring it?
So, I would say understanding the person whom you're dealing with. It could be an actor, it could be a director. अगर तुम उसकी साइकी समझ गए कि इनको मीडिया को इंटरव्यू देने में इंटरेस्ट है, इनको उनका आइडिया ऑडियंस को पहुंचाने में इंटरेस्ट है, इनको बहुत सारा कवरेज चाहिए कि इनको पॉइंट ब्लैंक एक सब्सटेंस कवरेज चाहिए. अगर आपको ये समझ गया तो आप राइट मीडिया को बुलाओगे और राइट रिजल्ट दे पाओगे. If you cannot identify what a Pratik Gandhi from Camp 1992 wants, or what a Naseeruddin Shah wants, or what a Zakir Hussain wants. Like, I'll give you a very crucial example. It's been 3 years I'm working on Zakir ji's birthday concert. And Zakir ji called me and said, Ki, Kajal, I've done lots of interviews and everything. Now you suggest me something good. And I don't believe in giving too many interviews, but I want to say it all because I don't stay here. I don't speak to media every day here. So in once and for all, one interview, I need to spell out everything and they want to hear it also. So then we came up with this idea of giving only one interview once a year exclusively to Bombay Times, and the editor comes herself to interview him. And they gave us splendid, big, huge coverage because he doesn't speak to any other media. And he says all what he has to say in one interview. So you take only 1 hour or 2 hours of that artist. The artist gets to speak what they want to speak. And they get justice in the newspaper. And they are respected because the editor herself comes to interview. So everything is solved in this. So this is like what you say, putting the puzzle together.
Right.
You need to identify this.
You should have the knack for it, right?
Yes, absolutely. There you go.
Can you also share with us what are the practical skills one needs?
So I would say drafting a press release for theatre is very, very crucial. The reason being, you don't have to write. I mean, the obvious things is where is the show, what time is the show. You need to in fact communication skills of how are you communicating, how much respect and importance you give to each journalist, how much information you are giving to that journalist. If you're talking about the director, what they can Google and Wikipedia about the director is not what you are supposed to write in your press release. They are really not interested. You need to write something about the director, about their process, about what they are wanting to communicate through this play, why they made this play, what incident made him do this. You can even
Absolutely.
write an anecdote. So your quote is very different than your regular quote. To draft that, to understand what the director wants to say and put it across in the words is very, very crucial. And your communication, you are the mouthpiece of that production house, that director or that theatre hub. So when you are talking to the media, for them it is Prithvi Theatre and NCPA and all these theatre groups talking to them.
Right.
So they will say that आपके theatre group ने हमारे साथ ऐसे बात किया. They will say you are the mascot. You are speaking. So I am the sound and the voice of that theatre. I cannot be sounding wrong at all. And I have to be courteous. I have to be pleasing to both ends. And I cannot be taking wrong. If the journalist is asking for the moon, I will not be able to give the moon. But I will say that I will give you stars and I should get them the stars.
Absolutely. And I'm assuming since you're dealing with so many creative individuals who are proficient in one form of communication or other, the PR person who's working with them needs to have communication skills that are at par or, maybe even higher. But Kajal, one might not be perfect in all forms of communication. I'm sure everyone has their strengths and drawbacks. Is there any leeway in the theatre community for someone who is enthusiastic to be able to learn more and work on their skills? Is there any wiggle room there?
So what you can do is read scripts. When you read a script, you understand. If you read one script and you go to see that play, your experience will be very different because you anticipated while reading the script in a very different way than how it is communicated. There is a play called The Father, when Motley, Naseeruddin Shah, where he plays the father. When you
Right.
read the script, you will never know. It's a normal story. But when I go for the play, he has played around with the sound effects where and the props. There are no props in the whole play, and there is only sound of that prop. So when he keeps a glass on the table, the glass is in his hand is how he's acting. When he keeps the glass on the table, you can hear a sound of keeping the glass on the table. So there are no props in the entire play, but the sound is so great कि वो टेबल पे रखने का साउंड आता है, वो कर्टन खोलने का साउंड आता है. So that's a great experience. And the only play in which I have got interviewed two young boys who are doing sound of the play, who are very important, more important than the person who's acting. And नसीर जी is very happy कि आपने साउंड वाले का इंटरव्यू कराया. मेरा इंटरव्यू तो ठीक है, वो तो होते रहता है.
Right. No, it's such a beautiful visualization. I mean, I can't even imagine somebody creating something like this.
Exactly my point. That is so the difference between. So now you know how important the director is. अब ये उनका vision है. ये तुमको press को पहुंचाना है. And there are, if you read father के reviews and everything, everybody has mentioned this point. Everybody. They've called me and asked me who's done the sound. So this is where it gets crucial ना. I'm saying कि अगर तुमको आइडिया ही नहीं है कि साउंड क्या है या लाइट क्या है थिएटर में, उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग ही नहीं है, तुम थिएटर का स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ लो या तुम एक लाइटिंग वर्कशॉप में चले जाओ या तुम एक एक्टिंग वर्कशॉप में चले जाओ, तो तुमको जो पता चलेगा ना, ओनली फॉर योर नॉलेज अबाउट हाउ इट वर्क. So the working and the process is very important for you to know rather than jumping into the rehearsal and enjoying the scene and then going back home and calling a journalist next day, but not knowing what to tell the journalist or what to tell. I actually brief the journalist and the director at times. I tell them that this is what has been communicated and this is what should come out of this. Because otherwise that interview makes no sense.
Your field is absolutely fascinating, and I'm sure you would be getting into, the depths of everything before you actually communicate out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I am annoyed with myself if I don't know anything. So I try and get as much brief as I want for the project, and I take my time and I go to rehearsal. Even if I don't call press over there, I go and I hang around and I talk to people. I see the rehearsal, I enjoy it. I come back and there's so much knowledge into each day of rehearsal, you have no idea. And I love the process. It's like you're watching the meal being cooked before you eat it.
That's a wonderful way of putting it. We are running out of time, so last question. Favorite project that you have worked on?
My favorite project, I would say something which is very nearby to my heart is Prithvi Theatre Festival, because started my career in 1996, I would say. It is from 1997 that I am attending the Prithvi Theatre Festival, and I have not missed it for anything on this earth. I would change my entire life for that, to attend that festival, because what the vibe and the people and the warmth stored in that is, I can't describe it in words. I've never missed it, and that's my favorite project. And I would do anything to be there. And I'm working since 1997 for that festival, so it's very close to my heart.
Okay. Your favorite all-time play?
My favorite all-time play. Oh my God, very difficult question. There are too many.
Pick top three. Pick top three.
No. No, definitely. I would say The Father, of course, of Naseeruddin Shah. The Dear Liar of Naseeruddin Shah. The play is called Dear Liar.
Right.
Zakir and Ratna both act in it, and it's one of my favorite play, wherein I've seen it n number of times. Another play which I love is Stories in a Song by Sunil Shanbag. It's amazing, combination of music, dance, theater, everything. And the big play, you can see a huge production. It was called Sing India Sing. It was done by Rahul Dakuna, and it was again the amalgamation of lot of amazing singing. It was absolutely a Broadway experience for me over there, and it was fantastic. So the list is very long. I think this entire podcast would go off.
Thank you so much, Kajal, for taking out the time today to speak to us and helping us understand more about how PR works in the theatre industry.
Thank you.
So that was Kajal Gadhia giving us an insight into how PR fits into the world of theatre and what you need to know to be successful in it. Thank you for joining us for another episode of All About PR. Would also like to give a shout out to the good folks at PRPOI. This episode was brought to you via a special arrangement with them. Thank you again for tuning in today, and we will see you next week for another interesting conversation from the world of communication.